Hey everybody, I'm that girl goddess. Um, this morning, and y'all gotta watch out for a lot of scams in these companies. I Googled a phone number to a company and I called it, and they immediately charged me $70 for calling that number. And then I went on another website, and they didn't say nothing about no charge. They just told me that their business hours from 9 to 9. So I had made the call around 7:30, and then I got alert from my bank about the charge. When I went in, I disputed. I talked to someone, and I was like, "No, how do they do that?" And she told me that you can call into some company, and if they answer you, they will put you into a membership automatically. Use your phone number, and if you have your debit card on Google accounts, they will charge you. And I disputed this morning. Then I called the company. Okay. And when I called them, I told them I did not sign up for this account. And when they got through dealing with me, I probably argued with them probably about 30 minutes. They sent me an email letting me know that they canceled my membership and I should be receiving my money back. This is ridiculous. And my whole thing is the government needs to set up guidelines on how these companies act. All of these scams, just like I heard about the iPhone scam, and they using dark sword, and they using another app called Karuna to tap into people's information on their phone. This is ridiculous. It's supposed to have been a Chinese app. And I have an iPhone, but it's not on. And I just prefer the Android. But I'm so disturbed of how all of these criminals can tap into your bank account. You ain't signed up for nothing. Even when you answer the phone, they ask you a question. Don't ever say the word yes, because they will take it and they will insert it to make it seem like you said yes to whatever they selling, whatever they're doing. And you will lose money. And I had to get on my bank. I was like, I have alerts. Like any other time, I can be trying to pay an account. It can even be my utility bill. They'll send me an alert, decline it. And I have to tell them, do not decline when I am trying to pay my utility bills that I pay every month online. But today they want to take out some money. I was like, no, sir, no, ma'am. I don't play them games. You are not going to take money out of my account. And then they was talking about, you going to have to get a new debit. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. So the bank ended up disputing the account and told me they'll credit my account. And I went in on that company and I got an email. And I got proof. I did not sign up for it. That membership was canceled immediately. And they have in the email that they will refund my money. I'm a hard person to get by. It's just like I tell them, these salespeople call my phone to the point people be having, those telemarketers calling all day long. I recently went to look up a car insurance quote, and then it was like 1 million insurance companies started calling my phone. When I got through with one telemarketer on that phone, I said, I don't know what list y'all done bought. I just wanted to hear a quote. I don't do business with nobody over the phone unless I call them. I did not call you. I will get my lawyer and I will sue your companies. Do not call my phone unless you have my permission, and I will call you first. I say all of this is ridiculous. I hold a job. I will not be harassed. Oh, yeah, I went there. You're not calling my phone all day. I don't care who sold you a phone number. That should be illegal. Well, let me tell you, because I was at work and I had my phone on Do Not Disturb, so I didn't see a lot of these calls coming in. But it was one morning, I had took my phone off because I was expecting somebody to call me. When I seen all those phones, and I called them back, do you know, when I got through talking to them people, because why I had the phone, took it off of Do Not Disturb, I had got like 20 calls within probably about 40 minutes. When I got through talking to them on the phone, let me tell you, and I understand when they put you on these phone lists, you got to tell each one, take me off your list. Put me on do not call. I didn't even go that far. When I got through going off on these people, I haven't received another phone call. It's been a week. I tell people, I don't play with telemarketers. Anything they ask me, I know don't say the yes word. I was like, no, no, and no. And this is harassment. Stop calling my number, and I am recording you. And I do take my other phone and record the call. I asked you to stop. I asked you to take me off your list. I did not give you permission. I need you to stop harassing me. Whoever sold you this number, I will sue. I will have a lawyer investigate. I'm not playing with these people. You will get terminated from your job from all those calls. And you can put on do not disturb while you're at work. But the process is, if you have children, it could be the school calling, could be a doctor calling, it can be a very important call coming through. I can't just live like that because I'm being harassed. And I'm like, no. I did not give no company permission to sell my information, and that is something they need to ask you. Not automatically, and just because again, well, I just seen your number and you was looking for a quote, and I just decided, excuse me, I do not do business with no one I don't call. I cannot verify if this call is coming from somebody, a company, and it's a legit company. No. When I do business, I will go in, call a company directly, and go into that company. If I cannot go into that company, I cannot prove this is a legal company, I don't do business with you. I don't care what you say. I don't even want to hear your sales pitch. I'm not into sales like that. I'm a person who make up my mind what I want to purchase and buy, and I will go directly and seek that company out. Doing business over the phone, on a phone number, you do not know who's talking to you. It's too many scams. I don't answer questions. I do not get information. I do not agree. That's why I say, don't ever say the yes word to a telemarketer or someone who called your phone. You got an email. Do not answer the email. You can report it as a spam. You can put it in your spam box, or, you got spam email. Do not. Because they will have to prove that you agreed. There's no agreements. Okay? And I feel bad for the elderly because they ask them a question. They may say, is your name such and such? And they will say yes. I always tell people, if they ask you, is your name such and such? Say no. No. What is this concerning? I did not call you. Do not call my number. Well, would you? No. And hang up. And we're living in terrible times, and I know people aren't trying to give away information. I'm just saying, you ain't trying to give away money. It's difficult living. And I tell people, a lot of people in the politics and government and mayors and presidents and Congress vote in these laws that make absolutely no sense. It should be a law established against telemarketers on your phone soliciting you all day. Okay? If anything, if they got your number, they just should send a text mail. And you should be able to block them. But calling you all day, and I tell people you cannot say yes because they will say that you agreed to whatever service. They will switch that around. And have your voice recorded. And they should make it a law, even if you was on the phone and they said yes, your bank need to immediately say fraud report. Okay? Ask this was it you. Because like I asked I'm sorry, I'm in my car. Like I asked my bank, why is it they can go in my account, but I can have trouble coming into my account? I said, make it make sense. I said, because if I have to get a lawyer, I don't care. I don't care if I have to get a class action lawsuit going against them. You're not going to tell me that my money is insured into your bank account and you're supposed to be protecting my funds. You will call me or send text messages and emails to me if I was online and I went to purchase something and they will immediately send me an alert and say, was that you? Okay. And if I don't put yes, the account, the transaction is automatically declined. Now, how do they let other people go in? And I went and told her, and the bank, she was cooperative. First, she went to give me, well, I can't. I said, hold up. When I got through to I said, and y'all supposed to be, we have to have the account because you need a debit card for anything. I said, and that's the only reason I put my money inside of a bank. But then the government, I seen a post talking about they was canceling cash money. And then it said that elderly, if you sell their vehicle and that transaction is a lump sum and it shows that they have a deposit more than $10,000, they're going to have to file it. They can get in some trouble. And, I'm going to look back at the video. I'm going to look it up. But I said, that's ridiculous. If you sell your vehicle, you don't have to report anything. It's your vehicle. That ain't new income. Anything that's trying to keep us afloat in America, it seems as the government putting stuff in place to make you lose everything. And my whole thing is the rich, they have all these charities they give to that they don't have to pay income taxes. We get our money out of our paycheck and the government automatically going to take out so much money to fund these public assistance programs. And like I turn around and I tell all of them, cut them off. And people say, you should have a heart. I do have a heart. Cut them off. I have to afford my own life, my own lifestyle. Christians, citizens, hardworking people, stop being so passive when it comes to your money. Now, we pay these high taxes that makes absolutely no sense. This is just like the Boston Tea Party. Okay, when England was fighting the settlers that came over to America and had all that taxation. We got it now. You go to the grocery store, they're taxing food. From Michigan, they ain't supposed to have taxes on food. But in Georgia, they do. Everything you purchase, they tax you. First, they raise the price that the tax money that they're going to pay is already included. Then they charge you taxes on it. We're supposed to be stupid, And then at the end of the year, during the year, they take taxes out of your checks unless it's a 1099, self-employment. And then from there, at the end of the year, they're going to take taxes. At the end of the year, if you don't have children, this, and this, you're going to owe some taxes. It don't make no sense how many scams it is to eat up out of the people money, but you get people who won't work, get on public assistance, and they claim their children on their taxes and get back money on their taxes. And my thing is, if taxes is for earned income and they set at home off the government, why should they get money back for having a whole bunch of children? Okay. And they never work. But us, we can have it and they tax us so bad, we'll be ended up owing. And why are we being forced to take care of somebody, able-bodied who don't want to work? So when they ask me, are they going to mess with my money? Am I going to be taxed to take care of somebody? And if the answer is yes, cut them off. Okay. I had children. My husband got sick. I had one. He made his transition. And I tell people, whether I had a children or not, I went and had a job. I put in for some assistance. They sent me a check for $13 because I always work. I didn't even cash the check. Okay? I put the check in a frame. Okay? Didn't cash it. That was an insult. If I'm out here working 40 hours and I'm not living beyond my means, why can't they give me, and back then it was just food stamps, some assistance for someone who put into the system? Why is it I have to be degraded and they send me a $13 check? $13? It's just like they send these senior citizens $23. One person's supposed to get this amount. But if you're a senior citizen, somehow you get $23. And I want to see the government, the mayor, the governor, or anybody else that has something to do with authorizing senior citizens getting $23. Live off of it for a month. You can go spend $100 and you go to the grocery store and you don't have no quality food and you'll come out with probably 2 small bags. Okay? Of groceries. It won't even last you 4 days. So how can they live off of $23 a month? Anybody in their right mind know you cannot live off of $23 a month. They on fixed incomes. Their fixed income keeps them in poverty. So how in the world, especially with the prices of rent, and we go out here and go to work and couldn't afford rent? How is it possible that they figured out that a senior citizen needs $23 a month and they are on medication, need special foods and different things? No. And I tell people the government just playing in our face. They know that stuff is ridiculous. And they try to justify it. And it ain't coming out of their money. It's coming out of the hardworking people money, of people who have worked. And then they want to tell us that when we get up to a certain age to retire, even though we done paid our taxes, put into the system, talking about we won't have no money to retire. Why not? But then you got millionaires who can afford to pay taxes. They talking about they gave money to charity. That should be outlawed. Why are they giving money to charity if the government need the money and they have the money to give, but they take it from people that is on poverty level? Okay. and all in between, that's just rich privilege, and the devil is a lie. And I know a lot of senior citizens, they do have Alzheimer's and they have dementia and a lot of health things, and they can't get out and, to do anything. They're not informed about the people that get into office. It should be outlawed. It's just like these, and I'm going to say it. Why are children having transgender surgeries, and there's proof that once they go through it, it sterilizes them? They be in physical pain. Why? They're not consenting adults, and their parents should not be able to consent for something that is not life and death situation, like some medical. Why are they giving permission to destroy somebody else's life? Those are criminals. Why would you want to change your child? You gave birth to a child, you got what God gave you. You love the child, and if you didn't want to love the child, after you had the baby, you found out, you should have terminated the pregnancy, even though I am pro-life. But I believe in, if a child is great, she should have the right to end that pregnancy. Nobody wants to look at someone who did something so horrific to them. Look at that child. Their body shouldn't have to go through that change to give birth just because somebody raped them. I'm sorry. Teenagers, children cannot consent to intimacy. So it's automatically considered rape. Now, you got states and laws that say a 16-year-old have permission, have the right to consent over their body. But the devil is a lie. A 16-year-old is not a legal adult. I want y'all to make this make sense, because they try to justify this stuff. It is not a legal adult. So they cannot, if children cannot consent to that, they are still considered a child. And in a lot of places, they'll tell you your child is not considered totally grown till they're 25. And the parents can put them on their income tax. But then they want to tell you a 16-year-old has consent when it can do harm to that child's life. Okay, a lot of children and adults do not make it through childbirth. But then we got a government that says they're making decisions for us even though we are mentally competent and sane and do not agree. Parents that's out here who love their children, they should have a right to discipline them children as long as they're not breaking bones and causing physical damage. Okay, but then they will at one time will go and they will have boot camp and physically touch your child. They want you to practice against your religion, but then you can get these occults that is so abusive to children and to wives. And they're legal. You got to make this stuff make sense. If the government is about the personal well-being of the citizens and respect our our opinions and standards, if they're not evil. Spanking a child is not evil. We know the system failed a lot of parents saying it was abuse to spank their child, and their child standing there cussing them out. Now, it's a thing called DV, which is, abuse did to a significant other, whether it's man or female. Okay. Then they say child abuse. Then if you out here fighting felonies, assault, it's even physical abuse. They have the abuse to seniors. If you're a caregiver, nurse, or anything in the medical field and you cause them harm. They say we cannot harm nobody. So why do children have the right You got children, 5-year-old, 7 years old. It's a commercial with Dr. Phil on the little child slapped his mama and say, let me talk. That's abuse. It's a thing called parent abuse. A child should not be putting their hand on no adult. And you're supposed to stand there and take it. These teachers. And I know. Okay? I went to school and I watched some of the classmates fight the teachers. Teachers, you got young men going through puberty and they try to rape the teacher. Okay? They fighting a male child, and he's 13, but he's 6 feet 2. Big kid. About 100 and, I'm going to say 75 pounds plus. He lifting weights and stuff, and he want to fight a female teacher. Where is the protection for the people who does work for the public? But like I said, they want to take away our voice. All these scams and BS. Okay? No. We as the American people, we need to start calling in to our mayor, to go to the ombudsman, find out how we can establish laws to protect us, the hardworking people, protect our money, protect our rights. Okay? You're supposed to have the right to bear arms, which is your constitutional right, but you don't have it. They just not passing laws that you can go get it. They said it was open and carry in Michigan. As soon as they start buying it, they will pull them over or arrest them, take their weapons, and then they will always say the weapons came up missing from evidence. But if they have any other case, they don't lose evidence okay. And then it may come up on the street that gun that they confiscated from you was used on the street. So what is that telling us about our law enforcement? And you just lost your money and your weapon. And then you didn't pass your permit because for any reason they used to be able to deny you again. Okay. Y'all have to make this make sense to me. Okay. No. They didn't allow all these illegal immigrants that had violent criminal felonies behind them into America. And I know for a fact that they was going up to people's houses, forcing them out of their house with weapons. And when they had weapons, now they're illegal immigrants. Why do they have weapons that, let's say, automatic weapons? Okay. Look like some kind of heavy military artillery, military guns. Okay, it don't make no sense. We're trying to stop violence in the land. And now that they're doing it, people trying to find reasons for people who did fraud to the assistance programs, don't deport them. But they'll American do it. They'll lock you up and put you in prison. Send these people back. They have no right to be here if they don't have a green card, period. They got to follow the laws of the land like the next person. That's just common sense. Stop trying to find ways. And that's what the government did, these demo rats. Okay? It's Democrats. But at the RATS is rats. And I tell people, because they are demons. And they just added a C. Cuz. Okay? Rats. They're demonic. They do not do nothing for our side. And if you spell out demonic and put RAT, you got Democrats. Now, I'm not just saying, like, just because they're Republican, they're good. No. I don't even think they should have the parties. I just think we should be able to vote. And they should pull up everything about them and let the people know and decide and let us listen to them talk not in government language, but in a language that the average American person can decipher and understand. Our system, our government has failed us a long time. Okay? And I'm just saying we need a change. We allegedly got a president. They got someone they're married to that's supposed to be transgender. And I did say allegedly because I don't know their medical thing. But if you do cosmetology and you study different forms, the man's head is so like 1/5 of the size of his body, and even the shoulder width. And this person meet all of that. Even the first time I seen this person, I said, that look like a man. And everybody was like, no. And I have a lot of friends in Chicago. And I went to talk and I said, she's supposed to be from Chicago. And all of the people I knew said, it is a man. And I said, we can't just say that. They said, no, we went to school with him. Allegedly. Because I wasn't there. I couldn't tell you if they went to school with him. I just know that individual looked like a man. And I said, well, that's an awful... Whew. And then when Jones Rivers came out, made her comment. We seen some of the clothes and we seen body parts. I just tell people, look, to be president, you supposed to be with a born woman and a born man under the guise of holy matrimony. Married. And they supposed to have background check. And they supposed to have birth certificates. But people don't know whatever's on the president, like they say about a pastor when you deal with leaders, whatever curses on them fall down on the people. And we under a lot of judgment. And I have nothing against those individuals. But my whole thing is there should have been a legal investigation. And if they did not fit the description to be the president or sit in that seat, or they took it, they should have been locked up. They should have been impeached, removed immediately. And I'm not a person that people will say is homophobic. I really don't care what you do in your room, your privacy of your bedroom. I don't care. As long as it doesn't involve force or children. Adults make their choice. God gave us a right to make a choice, and He gonna make the judgment. And that's where my stance is. But when it comes to the laws of the land, that is not okay. And I look at people, if you lie to me about those things, you lie about a lot. But I can't accuse them to be that. I just said allegedly from the information I gather. And when I looked at that person, they looked like a man. Even their legs. Everything. It's not hate. I just want the blessings on the land and I want the truth. And if you got money, it just seems like you can pay off any judge. It's like even with the Diddy case. I don't care how much information and you trying to say they have the American citizens' personal well-being and all these children, people being sex trafficked. You know, I just look at everything like, look, 2 + 2 is 4 all day long. But it's so many excuses, and then you just tap them on their finger. It makes the lawmaking correctional system look extremely fraudulent. everything that you see in Hollywood, it makes no sense. And if you ask me, I feel like the judges and stuff and all them people up there pockets are being lined. Allegedly. I can't accuse them because I simply don't know. I say from the appearance of things. But what I am going to say is, how can we trust that we are safe in America and that the people, the higher ups, have our personal well-being in place if everything is against the hard-working person? But I pray God make changes, because some of this stuff is just stupid. And since I am foreign born, I do know overseas, and I know this because when you meet people that is from that area over here, and you lived in a community next to a community of those foreigners, and you talk to them, you close your relatives, interact with them and whatever, they speak freely. And where they can go to their country, use $500 or $1,000 on US dollars and build homes and stuff, and they build several and set their family up over there, and they have no good intentions over here. Okay, something is wrong. If we would have started a daycare and it been basically closed, not in operation, allegedly, from how things, they investigated and they seen those things to be true. And they don't want to deal with none of those people, and they're not paying our government back. That's not justice. And it's not fair to American people. And then tell them they're going to take our little dollars. You buy a home, it is so much fine print that you go past the first year, all you paid was interest. That's ridiculous. How are they establishing people who want to buy a home if they're scamming them out of their money? Then you got to pay taxes on it, but you paid for the home. Like I say, everything is tax, over taxation. But I'm that girl, Goddess. Like, share, and subscribe, and let's talk about it. Bye.